Welcome to episode 30 of the Sweet Natured Cruise Cast. Hi, I'm Linz, as always I'm joined by Marky.
Hello.
Hello, and today we're talking solo cruising and whether it's better to do it by yourself. But first, a little mood music.
So what do you think of today's mood music?
Wow.
After your little cheeky intro there.
What do you mean?
Well, it's so innocent, but I wouldn't melt.
My intros are cheeky. I feel that it was lovely music to be alone. I want to be alone music.
It kind of was that. So, talking of which, today's main topic is solo cruising. Mm-hmm. Which seems a weird thing for us as a couple to talk about. But we were inspired when we were watching our friends Jared and Jordan, JJ Cruise.
JJ Cruise.
When they said the other day that they were both going off and doing a solo cruise for the first time.
Yes, it said they were splitting up.
Yeah, that wasn't true. They were splitting up for a cruise.
Well, for a cruise, yeah.
And we kind of then were like, well, that maybe would be an interesting...
We kind of talked
topic
about it, and then we said, oh, we should save this for the cruise cast because we have nothing else this week. So
we would have thought of something else, but it seemed like a good idea to have
yes,
a chat about. Of course, after that, we've got a couple of news stories to talk about as well.
Nice.
One of which I think we might get into a little bit. And because of that, I've not got a cruise confession this week.
Okay.
Because I didn't want it to go too long for everyone.
But if you've got a solo cruise confession...
I didn't have a solo cruise confession.
No, but if you've got one, send it to me and...
You'd like that for a future one?
I'd like it for myself.
Just for you. Is that for the special late night Lindsay edition later in the year?
Yes.
Okay.
Get them in.
Okay. Well, do you want to kick off this sort of solo cruise chat?
Okay. I mean... They're quite pricey. So are we doing this like this is the dream scenario?
Yeah, when we were talking about it, we were saying what would be sort of the solo cruise that if we had to do a solo cruise that we would do.
Yeah.
And why?
Okay.
So you've got to think about your cruise line.
Yeah.
Maybe your specific cruise ship if you've got one. Mm-hmm. And then why that particular one.
Okay. I know what mine is.
Go for it then, because I haven't given this enough thought yet.
I've thought about this quite a bit.
Oh, that's not necessarily a good thing for me.
I'm going on the Nile cruise.
Is this because I've kept saying they're a bit dodgy?
It's not that... Well, maybe they are, but I want to go on one. And I feel this is the only way I'm going on one.
It's not that I don't want to go on a Nile cruise.
No, and also, Mark, you'd be rubbish on a Nile cruise. You'd know nothing.
Do you mean I'd know nothing? Just because I don't go to sleep at night watching the latest sort of mystery origins of Egypt, which is true.
It is true. That's exactly what I do. That's my bedtime stories. What can I say? This is what I do. And you'd be rubbish on it.
Why do I know nothing?
You know Stargate.
That's a lot more than some people do.
You know Stargate.
Stargate's fact. I believe that there's...
And this is why you're not coming.
You think that there's alien involvement in Niles as well? Or ancient beings, not just sort of Egyptians.
What the heck? What type of podcast is this?
You threw in the Stargate bit.
No, that's a TV show. Don't be outing me. Because I too can play at that game, mister.
So going back to your Nile cruise.
Yeah.
Who are you going to cruise with?
Myself.
Oh. I kind of figured that, given that we're talking solo cruising. But, I mean, which cruise line would you want to go with to do that? Why that particular cruise line?
Well, I'm going to be realistic. And it's going to have to be... I'd love it to be Viking.
Why can't it be Viking for your sort of fantasy solo cruise to the Nile?
Oh, my fantasy. I'm sorry, you lost me there. I'm going to say, I'm going to be realistic, because I don't want to. We could all play fantasy cruises.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be realistic.
Okay.
I'm going to say 2A. I'm going to do 2A. I know you park up for a bit, but I'm being realistic.
And what would your expectations or your concerns be about solo cruising then?
On the Nile by myself.
On the Nile by yourself with TUI. So it's going with a cruise brand that you've never been before, to a part of the world that you've never been before, on a type of ship that you've never been before. Any concerns there?
Well, I mean, it could go like, I could be like Rachel Weisz in The Mummy and end up awakening Imhotep. That'd be so typical of me. But maybe there'd be concerns. I think I could make like-minded friends with people on the cruise.
Would you, if you were going to do a solo...
Am I dining by myself? Is that what you're asking me?
What I was going to say is, would you go on an organised solo cruise like what our friend Lizzie does?
If she was doing that, maybe with other people that
other solo
genuinely interested in Egypt and not just like, oh.
I don't know what you mean.
Where's Jack and Sam?
Yeah.
That's what you'd be doing.
Well, I know it's a TV show.
Playing the music on repeat.
I'd be more interested in going to the sort of areas where they're not publicly available.
Oh, don't exist, apparently.
No, they do definitely exist. There is like stuff under the Giza Plateau.
Suddenly you're an expert.
I watch some of the stuff that you watch.
I know.
No, but there is. I mean,
this is so controversial. We're going to get struck.
We're not getting struck for talking about going to different parts of Egypt. I'd like to go to a museum there. I always enjoy going to a British museum.
Yeah, the gem is huge.
That's what the new
one. It looks incredible. I'd get lost in there. And I'd love it. You'd be meh.
Meh. Tombs.
No.
Meh. Pyramids.
They don't have pyramids. This is why I'm going by myself.
They have pyramids in Cairo. They definitely have pyramids. Even my lack of Egyptian knowledge knows that there's pyramids in Cairo.
Not in the museum. They don't.
They can see them from the museum.
It does look fabulous. So that's me.
Would you have any concerns about going somewhere like that by yourself? Because I don't necessarily. I want meaning because
as a lone female.
Yeah.
I mean, probably. But I could always make a friend.
Just be Lex Luthor.
No. People advertise for travel buddies all the time.
But that's not going solo.
Actually, I think that might be another Urban Dictionary thing.
I think it might be. But you want.
I don't want one of those.
So I think if you are going to go somewhere like that as a solo traveller, if it was me, I'd definitely feel sort of better as part of a group.
That's as a group, or with a friend, but you'd be awful.
Yeah, but then you're not solo travelling if you're going with a friend.
No, maybe not. But maybe make friends on the cruise because like-minded people that I would enjoy that, because I'm not a sun bunny. I'm not laying out for a week.
You're not a sun bunny. You don't like sand, so you want to go to the desert.
I'm not good with sand. But at least
I'm seeing a flaw in your No.
But at least I've got like closed-toe footwear on, because you'd be wearing appropriate shoes. You're not doing it. If you're doing it in your flip-flops, you're doing it wrong.
Well, that's a T-shirt right there. What would your expectations be when it comes to, so not Egypt specifically now, but as being a solo cruiser, when it comes to dining?
I'd have to do it by myself.
No, you wouldn't.
Oh, they put me with people.
They would put you with people. I don't think you're getting a table for one on a river cruise on TUI. I'm fairly sure you're going to be on the solo group.
You just made me think of that table in The Wedding Singer then.
The one at the back where everyone's put. That's where all the cool kids are.
That's the table I'm going on. And you know what? I would have a lovely time because we'd all have a genuine interest in...
In Egypt.
Yeah, but you can't do it. You'd be awful.
I think I'd be...
On reflection, you'd be the worst person to go with.
I think that's harsh. I think there's definitely worse people than me to go to Egypt with.
Not for me. I mean, that I know.
That you know personally. That you invite to go on a cruise.
No, but I'm doing it by myself. But at least those people would like...
Yeah, I think if you're on a river cruise to Egypt and there's other solo travellers on there, it's very fair to say that they're going to have an interest in Egypt and Egyptology and the pyramids and everything else. That's why they're there.
Yes.
Because obviously there's lots of other choices to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think you'd have an issue on that. I think you'd be absolutely fine when it comes to dinner, far more than me.
Oh, you'd be awful. You'd be awful.
I mean, I'll talk about it now to a degree, but I will do when I get onto it.
What?
You can go and speak to someone without any sort of effort and sort of strike up a conversation about anything, especially if you're on an Egypt cruise. You're going to have no problem with that.
People tell me
I'd
problems.
be more concerned about just sort of sitting with someone that I've never met before, a group of people, just by myself, not with you there as well, where I can bounce off you like I can normally.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, for instance, if we're on Virgin and we're at the Korean barbecue,
yeah,
and you're on a table of 8, there's you there, and then there's 6 other people. So I know that I can talk to them if I want, but I can bounce off you to do that. It just makes it easier, but you're not going to have an issue with that at all.
No, and also, so that's my cruise.
It's also very easy on a river cruise for you to find your way back to your cabin, even if you've had a couple of drinks. There's not far to go.
No, there's not far to go. I wouldn't go mad. You know what? I wouldn't go mad because I need to be
up and
perky for the excursions.
Yeah, well,
I need to, because I need to be able to absorb it, and I need to be able to.
Yeah, you wouldn't. Want
you can't do that hungover.
Up late, very
no.
Going into seeing some of these things.
Because and a lot can be quite oppressive as well.
Yeah, and especially if it's depending what time of year you're going, it can be a very hot part of
it. Very warm.
That would not be a fun.
It wouldn't be fun for me, but I mean, imagine the outfits.
Imagine the outfits.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Well, you're going to be extremely covered up.
No, I'm going to go like I'm on safari.
You're not going to go like Princess Leia on the June buggy.
That's not how I was thinking at all. This is why you'd be awful. This is why you'd be awful on this cruise.
You'd be covered up, surely, wouldn't you?
I'm going to some like linens and khaki things.
Yeah.
And maybe a hat. Well, there would be hats, but like.
Would you be looking to things like The Mummy and Indiana Jones for inspiration as to what to wear? Are you going like 1930s, 1940s?
I blooming would.
Death on the Nile outfits?
In an evening, yes. And then, oh, yes, that's this is why I'm going by myself.
Well, I've just given you the ideas for that.
Yeah, well, no. But you're still not coming. But I would look good doing it. And then...
Right, I won't book us a Nile cruise for 2 then anytime soon.
No, because it would be awful.
Ow.
You would be awful. I'd be mortified.
Why?
Why?
I'm good at looking around at ancient stuff.
I'm
not as into Egypt as you are.
I feel that we'd be there at dinner one evening and we'd have had a really, really lovely excursion, and I would have taken away so much, and it would have been incredible, and then I'd be on such a high, and then we'd go to dinner, and then you'd be like, so what about Teal'c? Where's it?
I've been thinking everything at Stargate.
What?
There's other things that have been set in Egypt. I'd be interested in doing sort of. I definitely want to look around the gem for absolute sure. It looks amazing, and I'd be interested to look around things like the pyramids and the tombs, etc., where you can go to them. I'd just be more annoyed that I couldn't get to the areas that I'd really want to go to.
This is why you're not.
But it's not that I'm not interested.
Okay, do you?
But I haven't even really decided what my one is yet.
I know.
What? You're not sending me on Atlantis cruise. Every time we've had a conversation with any of our friends, it's like, you should do the Atlantis cruise. It'd be interesting. I'm like, no.
I think you would find it interesting.
I'm not doing the Atlantis
I think you'd find it interesting.
Yeah, so the Atlantis cruise is definitely predominantly a men-only cruise for anyone that's not looked at. Without going into it, I'll let you just Google that and read it for yourself. Now, I think for when I was thinking about this earlier today, obviously knowing that we were doing this evening, what would be the cruise that I'd want to do? And I did think about a river cruise at one point.
I did think about the Atlantis cruise.
No.
It's about my dream
No, I thought about a river cruise, but it wasn't ever sort of an hour one.
Was it like a Christmas cruise? Like a Christmas market?
I was thinking about like Mekong River.
Okay, I can see you doing that, yeah.
But I think the one that I would, the more I thought about it, I then thought about Virgin and other ones like that. But I think the one that I would really like to do, where, for the same reasons you would be a circumnavigate in Japan.
On a river cruise? Oh, no.
Not on a river cruise.
On a cruise.
That famous river that goes all around Japan. No, doing one of the Japanese ones.
You would like that.
I would probably go with celebrity on it.
Celebrity, really?
I thought about
not Diamond Princess.
I thought about Princess.
They've got the naked spas. You'd like that.
Well, on Princess, they have got the. Is it on which
Diamond?
Diamond Princess. That's got the
Japanese
style spa, which is that. Maybe I'd do that. So celebrity or Princess for Japan. Japan ticks lots of boxes for me when it comes to cultural. Same way you're interested in sort of Egyptology.
Yeah, but you don't go to bed watching Japanese.
That's
historical.
because there's right now they haven't discovered a load of stuff in Japan that like they have in things. So there's a lot of Japanese YouTube. A lot of Egyptian YouTube right now. There's plenty of Japanese.
Okay.
But I'd be fascinated to go see, in particular, sort of the older culture, the temples. The samurai stuff, I think it is absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, you love that.
But then the modern side of it, the anime, the video game side of it, I think would be absolutely fantastic. I do think that you would enjoy that nearly as much as me if you went, because you've still got an interest in sort of Japan anyway. We have talked about going there.
The food. But again...
The food would be amazing.
And the sake.
Sorry, I thought you said Stargate again then. And the sake. Yeah, I guess I hadn't seen the Japanese version of that. But the sake.
This is why you're not going.
I'm going to Japan.
You go to Japan, I'll go to Egypt, and then we'll contrast and compare notes.
So are you going to film any of yours while you're there?
No.
How are you going to share it with everyone?
I'm not. I'm sharing it with you.
Oh, right, okay. So you're not going to share it to anyone?
Oh, no, because it's for me.
You see, whereas I'd video it.
Oh, I'll video some bits.
I'd video some bits.
I'll video some bits.
I'd video the bit where I get stuck in a tomb.
And I inadvertently...
release some ancient horror.
That would be so me.
It would. Well, what's this book say?
Oh, now I can read it. That'd be good. That would be some past life stuff going on right there if I could read it.
Some Rachel Weisz bit going on there. But yeah, so I think for me, I was very tempted when I started thinking about it to say something like Virgin, because I know I always have a good time with it.
Yeah.
But I think
you need something else to keep you busy.
Yeah. And I think any solo one for me, obviously we've watched plenty of our friends solo travelling, Fraser in particular.
Yeah.
And he's done cruises that we've done as a couple.
Yeah.
And looks to have a great time. But I'd be looking to do something that we hadn't done as
Yes.
a couple. Like you said, for your now one, you're going to get much more out of that. When I jokingly said I didn't, I would enjoy going to Egypt, I would. But you will get much more out of it than I would from sort of a cultural
Definitely.
Experience.
Definitely.
And I would probably get more out of Japan than you would. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't go to Disney. I'd wait until we went back there together.
Okay, that's kind of you.
I know that you'd be gutted if I went to...
Oh, no, I won't be gutted.
You wouldn't be gutted if I went to
not
Disney
at all.
Sea?
No.
All right, I can get that booked.
Enjoy it.
So, TUI basement level indoor room for you.
No.
So would you still go with TUI then? Is that the... I'm curious, apart from like a cost, as to why you sort of picked TUI out.
I'd have a look to see who else was going. I'd have a look, but I'm going to have to be realistic. And also I've got to be realistic that I like your single solo cruise. Sorry, not single solo.
Single solo cruise. Solo traveller cruise.
Oh dear.
Yeah, just to reiterate, the inspiration behind this, JJ Cruise weren't splitting up, they were just going on different ships at the same time.
I don't want to give anybody the wrong idea.
No, this isn't us saying we're planning on doing solo cruising. We were just talking about what would be the one that we would like to do.
Yes, and shall we just leave that there then?
Yeah, I'd be really interested to hear in the comments especially whether you're a solo traveller,
whether you want to go to Egypt with Lindsay.
Yeah, I'm sure you would get plenty of offers to go to Egypt.
There'd be a test.
Yeah, you'd have to pass a. Would it be a written test, or is it a verbal test? Okay. Either way, there'd be a test involved in things. But I'd be really interested to hear from people, especially our couple, if they were going to do a solo cruise, what would it be for each of them?
Yeah.
So I think it is an interesting one, because there's got to be cruises that people have looked to do where the other one's just not fancy.
Yeah, and I think what happens is people always have a cruise like that in mind, and then they don't go until they're not a couple anymore.
Yeah. Which is a shame.
But there we go.
Okay. Would you like some cruise news?
Yes, please.
Before we get onto it, have you anything else that you want to add on about solo cruising for people who've never cruised solo? This isn't our level. Area of expertise.
It's not our level of expertise. So I can only talk about me doing it solo, and
you're doing it by yourself.
This is taking a turn.
It took a turn from the intro.
It's pineapple juices, and
it's a Tuesday, and there's no.
I just got back from work.
Yeah. Well, let's do some cruise news, because there's been some interesting cruise news this.
And there has laid on me gun.
Yeah. So the first one that I wanted to touch on was the P&O Aurora last minute cancellation. So if you've not come across this one yet,
I'm sure they have.
The time that we're recording this, which is Tuesday, it was due to leave from Southampton yesterday, and on Easter Sunday...
Nice, when there's nobody working.
Less than 24 hours before it was due to depart, or less than 24 hours before people were getting on, P&O announced that they were cancelling it. Aurora's been in for a fairly substantial refit, but not like 6 months of work. It was booked in for 2 weeks, and this was the first one after it. There were a lot of people excited to see what they'd done in there, because I think Aurora's the oldest P&O ship still sailing. I might be wrong, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on that. And it was still in the dock in Rotterdam where it's having the refit yesterday. So they sent everyone an email saying, sorry, your 3-night cruise is cancelled less than a day before.
I'm not loving the 20% cruise credit voucher that they got as compensation. I feel that's a bit mean.
Well,
because if we'd have travelled down
Well, I wanted to touch on that, which is why I thought it'd be an interesting talking point for it. What P&O have offered as compensation is all your money back, which obviously they have to do that.
Yeah.
That's not an option. And then a 20% future cruise credit to go on against a P&O one in the future.
Yeah.
Of course, you could take the whole money back and put it against a different cruise.
Yeah.
But
I guess
it was up to you.
This is why you have insurance. Yeah.
Is that they weren't offering any refunds or compensation for travel, for hotels, or for parking. Now, if this had been 3 or 4 weeks out from that, I'd have been like, okay, that's
but they're expecting you to go to your insurance company, but the insurance company
might not pay out.
Yeah, they might get a little bit really fed up with it.
Your hotel would have still been available, so you haven't booked it as a package.
No,
and therefore that's not going to be an option. Also, what if you've flown? Not everyone who goes on P&O.
No, and somebody might have done double bubble. They might have booked that one to go and lead into another one. Yeah. So then you've got accommodation. Yeah. So
they've got a problem with that. But because it's in that 24-hour window for me, this is where I've got the real big issue with it. Most things such as parking, hotels, trains, etc., these days do allow you to cancel as long as it's more than 24 hours out.
Yeah.
And offer you a refund or a credit.
Yeah.
But if it's within 24 hours, you have to pay.
Yeah.
Which, again, that's not being unreasonable for those, and it's a lot better than it used to be in the past. So P&O saying we're not going to give any compensation for that, I think is unreasonable if you have an expense that you can prove that you had. I don't think people should just go, I had this £5,000 a night hotel. They should have to show the booking.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
They should give compensation on
It's not going to happen.
But given as to how sort of poorly they handled the Maleth
it's not.
one, but they can't blame anyone else but themselves.
No.
At what point do you, and this is us completely speculating, at what point do you think P&O knew that this wasn't going to be ready? Because I don't believe that someone made that decision on Easter Sunday, less than 24 hours before, that it's not ready. And just to put some more context to this, we're recording this coming up to 6 o'clock on Tuesday, the 22nd?
No, 20th, 25th. What? I don't know. I don't even know what day it is.
It's the day after the bank holiday weekend. As of just before we came on this, because I literally just checked it, Aurora's still in Rotterdam. She's due to go on the next cruise on Thursday, and that's a 12-night one to the fjords.
Uh-oh. They're going to be like we were with some princess out there. They're going to be on pins.
Yeah, because that's not a 3-night...
No, that's a big one.
Little break
That's a big one.
That for a lot of people, that'll be the main holiday of the year.
And they've been waiting for, and they're going to get off.
It's a bucket list cruise for a lot of people. That's the fjords on a newly refitted ship, which again, I'm sure a lot of people.
And it's also you're going to get all the waterfalls because of the time. Oh goodness!
I mean, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if that's cancelled. I hope it's not.
I hope it's not. Got fingers and toes crossed for you.
But the fact that it's still sat in Rotterdam today now, it doesn't take long to get from Rotterdam.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
As long as they've got a day clear, they'll get there.
Yeah.
And it could arrive later and they could depart later.
Yeah.
And all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the problem being that they've not given themselves any time whatsoever to check everything.
No.
Presumably right now there's no crew on it.
Maybe.
I can't imagine there's
I don't know.
On there.
I don't know.
So it's us speculating, but the other bit that I thought was bang out of order was they sent the email on the Sunday, which no problem sending an email on a Sunday, but they sent the email on Easter Sunday when their own call centres were closed.
Yeah.
So nobody could ring up
and try
check anything, book it to a different day. Can I get on the one on Thursday?
Yeah, no.
It was just really poor timing. I don't believe that they didn't know a couple of days before.
No.
P&O, tell us if you did.
No, they're not going to tell us.
No, but tell people, at what point did you know that wasn't ready? I don't believe they will, but
no,
I think it's frustrating. But fingers crossed it does happen for everyone going on there for the next one, but we shall see. Cruise story number 2.
Okay.
A little bit happier, this one.
Okay.
There's more and more stuff coming out now about the next Disney ship, Disney Destiny.
Disney Destiny?
Disney Destiny. Which is got a theme predominantly around heroes and villains.
Okay.
So they've released little bits of information sort of in terms of what's happening. There's a Black Panther Wakanda themed atrium.
Wow.
Various bits and pieces. But they've announced a couple of new venues and events that feature Cruella de Vil.
Cruella de Vil. Okay.
Well done. The first one being a Cruella de Vil fashion show runway, where they're encouraging people to go dressed up, and Cruella herself is going to be comparing it and judging you very live. Which, as soon as I heard that, I immediately thought of that being extremely virgin.
Yeah, it's kind of
maybe the diva doing that. It doesn't seem Disney-ish.
No.
At all, where you have to assume that she's going to be brutally honest. You know, whether you dress nicely or not, she's going to have a go because it's going to be in character.
Why would you put yourself through that on holiday?
I think if we'd had enough drinks, it'd be a fun one to do. But I'll be interested to see if that one's still there in a year's time.
Oh, there's any court cases.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see that sort of live commentary one. But they have said prepare for it to be dreadfully honest.
Okay.
The second one is a new venue.
Okay.
Which is the DeVille Piano Bar.
Oh, I like the sound of this.
You're going to like it even more in a second.
Go on.
Because it's adults only.
Oh, hello.
Pianos in there, all sort of decked out in white, black and red. To fit in with there. Plenty of live music and some specialty cocktails as well.
Nice.
Which I thought does sound a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then straight across the area from where that is the Cask and Cannon, which is the new Pirates of the Caribbean themed venue bar.
Wow, rum.
Which has got specialty rum cocktails.
Oh, nice.
And custom brews. Now, where I'm interested to get your take on that is, one, do you think they sound fun?
I'm just thinking I look so pasty in this. I'm not this pasty. Why am I so pasty? It's because you've got all this white on here. I'm so pasty.
Oh.
Sorry if I'm looking a bit scary.
Would you like me to turn that off for you?
Yeah, go on. I mean, it makes no difference now.
Is that better for you?
Look, I look like a human colour now. Not like I've been trapped in a crypt.
But for anyone listening, you still look exactly the same colour as you did 30 seconds ago. Do you think they sound like fun venues?
Yes.
Yeah. I assumed that you would do.
I do.
But do you think that this is Disney edging a little bit more to encourage Disney adults without children going on?
It does sound very Disney adult.
Because if you look at you got a couple of venues there that are definitely aimed at sort of the older ones a little bit more. The fashion show is open to everyone.
Okay.
But the bars are not. They seem to have been sort of putting more. Because when we first went on Virgin, when we first went on Disney, which was Disney Magic, long time ago, and that remains our only Disney experience to date. There was very little adult only.
It was the specialty restaurants.
And if I remember right, did it have a comedy club on there at one point?
I don't remember that. I just remember when we went to the island and we went to walk to the
other beach.
To the adults at the beach, up the runway, and there was like a haze and it looked like something, like a mirage. And it went on forever. It went on forever.
Very warm though,
and then that really weird-looking Rudolph reindeer-style truck came towards us, and we didn't know whether we were hallucinating.
I don't remember it being Rudolph reindeer truck.
There was a Rudolph reindeer truck.
I think there's every chance you were hallucinating at that point.
And then there was a sign saying, "Beware the barracudas."
There was that sound.
Okay, so there was definitely,
But do you think that Disney is starting to sort of set a little bit more towards adults with the last few ships?
I wouldn't say yes.
And it'll be interesting to see what happens with Destiny and Adventure and whether there is more on that. It is, forever like the parks, going to be aimed at families. But they just seem to be just putting a little bit more out there.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting to see. Final news story.
Okay.
We've got to have a Princess news story.
Love Princess.
They're increasing the package bundle prices.
Uh-oh.
Well, kind of.
After I've just said I love them.
No, you still gotta love them. 'Cause
Okay.
we always book it as soon as we book it for the premiere package. We know we're
I've
going to
got my eye on one. I've got my eye on one.
You can't talk about that yet. We haven't booked it yet.
No.
So under the new pricing structure, and I had to look this up because when I read this, I wasn't 100% sure that it was right. There's going to be an additional $5 charge if you book it on board. I already thought that was the case because that's the case with most cruise lines.
Stuff, yeah.
If you book it in advance, you get a discount. If you book it on board, you pay the normal price. What they're saying is that you pay the normal price if you book it in advance, and there's a premium if you leave it until you get on board. But it's $5.
Oh, but this is when it's... You know when this annoys me? If this was Royal Caribbean or Celebrity, I'd be like...
Because you could use your cruise credit.
You can't use your cruise credit for thingy. You have to fork out your own cash beforehand.
Yeah. So,
This is when it's mean.
Yeah, and I think that's where the biggest issues with these ones are. That I assumed that it already was that, so it wasn't.
No.
But I did genuinely assume it was. That if you want to use your cruise credit, you can't use it in advance. And therefore, when you get on board, if you're on for a week, each person that's on there, that's an extra $35. So for you and I, that'd be using an extra $70 of onboard credit.
Yeah.
Well, if you'd only got $100 of onboard credit, you've just wasted $70. You'd be better off booking it in advance.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you will.
And using that on board for something else if you're in a position to do that. But I thought it was...
It's interesting.
Interesting that they wanted to do it and that they're doing it. And is it purely because people have been doing it more with that, or is it that they, from a logistics point of view, have to get more stuff in?
Maybe.
You know, is there more admin to do if people leave it till the last minute in terms of adding it to the booking?
Or do they just want your money? Okay.
Or do they just want extra money?
Okay.
Which there's every chance it's the latter.
Yeah.
We still think Princess Premier is great value.
We love it.
Absolutely our favourite package at this
Yeah.
point. But it's going up a little bit in price if you leave it until you get on board.
Yeah.
So our recommendation would be look for an offer around sort of Black Friday or sales times, which they have throughout the year.
They do, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's not just Black Friday. And book it in advance because you can sometimes get the Premier one sort of below $50, below £50 compared to $95, which it would be on board.
Yeah.
But I think that about brings us to the end of this cruise cast.
Well, cheers, Alan. I'm off to cost a Nile River cruise for one.
And I'll be seeing what I can find for Japan.
Okay. Thank you for listening. Have a lovely day.
And I'll play us out with a little moon music.
Nice.